So we're gonna show how to assemble a park bench with recycled plastic lumber on it. As you can see, we have the legs are on the pallet that it'll arrive on. We've unpackaged the lumber as it's sitting, the 7 2x4s. And the first step, what we do is we lay down. We think this is optional, but we think that if you're in an open space, setting a 2x4 as a straight edge would be the first thing you would want to do. Step is to start setting the legs, determining exactly where you want the bench. He's going to start setting the legs down first. So he's got the first one down, and we recommend 2 people picking these up because we're short on personnel today. Mike is going to carry these legs over there. They weigh about 106 pounds a piece. We suggest 2 people carrying them. But he's setting the legs down. What we've done next is we've set actually one of the 2x4s for the bench right in front of the legs. So he's put the whole center on the center leg, and then he's kind of sliding the legs over to match up the hole in the front. He'll do the same with this other leg here. Bring it over a little bit, about to the center of the bench. The 2x4s right now, you could also use a tape measure. The hole centers for this particular, for a 6-foot bench is 30 inches on center. So you can measure it on the center of the bench like this. So there'd be 30 inches on center. So in between the legs, once you set it, right between the legs, it would be 26 inches in between each set of legs. This is just kind of a starting point. But at this point, what you may want to make sure that somebody's steadying these legs. We have these legs on a really flat surface, so they're sitting without being steadied, but you may want to have somebody else help you set the legs and steady the legs. He's going to start assembling the bench at this point. Step is to start assembling the boards on top there. What he's doing is he's starting to thread the bolts on the top of the bench into the inserts that are on the top of the legs that are threaded into the concrete. These are the inserts. You can see those are threaded right into the concrete, so there's no drilling involved. So he's going to start assembling these boards. All he's doing is just threading the bolt into the insert just to get it started. He's not tightening anything up at this time. What Mike's done is he's got the seat boards are all on the bench, all threaded in, left unfinished. The next step would be to put the bottom board on the back on. He's going to thread that board into the back of the bench. So he's got the bottom board installed on the bench. We usually start from the bottom because then that way you work your way up, and so as you're going, the next board, the board below it will support it while you're installing it. So that's kind of how we think this should be done, but there's no really set rule. You can see he's starting to put the second board on the back, threading it on there. Now you may have to make slight adjustments with your leg as you're doing this. Because as you're doing it, the legs might be slightly out of line, so you may have to move the bench leg in or out to get it set. So you want to make sure you just kind of as you're going, just install it on there. Here he's assembling the top board on there. Making a few adjustments on the leg. That's why we suggest not tightening anything until you're done. Next step is to tighten the bottom bench boards. So he'll go through and just snug all these, get them snugged. We won't be over tightening them yet. We'll do one final tightening at the very end. So he's going to snug them all up. The thing is he tightens the back boards. One of the things to look for in the back of the bench here is to make sure that the concrete and the lumber are coming together straight. sometimes these legs are slightly kicked askew, and so if you tighten the bench up with the leg slightly kipped to one side, it'll put a slight warp in the board, which you don't want. So he makes sure that when he's tightening these, he'll look and make sure that those are straight before he tightens them too much. We got the bench assembled. He's tightened the back, and he's going to go. What he's going to do is go through the bench one more time, just kind of make sure that all the bolts are snug. One last time. You don't lay on the wrench on these. You just give it a nice snug. Half wrench. And just make sure they're snug. And there you have it. There's a 6-foot park bench with recycled plastic lumber and fully assembled.